Lately Ethan had begun to notice changes in Anna. She seemed different. At first, it was subtle. She started dressing up more often, even when she wasn't leaving the house. Her phone, once left on the kitchen counter or nightstand without a second thought, was now glued to her side, often turned face down. She laughed at messages but never shared them, brushing off Ethan's curiosity with vague comments like, "Oh, just something funny Lisa sent me." Lisa, her best friend, had suddenly become the center of many of Anna's stories. It was Lisa this, Lisa that, Lisa's problems with her boyfriend, Lisa's new job, Lisa needing late-night talks. It was plausible enough, but something about the way Anna spoke felt rehearsed, like she'd prepared her answers in advance. Ethan tried to brush it off. Work had been particularly stressful lately, with tight deadlines and new hires to train. He told himself he was overthinking things, letting paranoia creep into his thoughts. After all, wasn't Anna the woman who had stood by him through everything? They'd built a life together, a home, a family. Surely, she wouldn't betray that. But the nagging feeling in his gut wouldn't go away. Ethan Cooper was the kind of man who prided himself on being a good husband and father. He worked long hours as a mechanical engineer to provide for his family while his wife, Anna, managed a thriving freelance design business from home. Their two children, Mia and Lucas, were the light of their lives, and Ethan had always considered their marriage a partnership, one built on trust and love. It was a Thursday evening when Ethan first felt the undeniable pang of doubt. He'd wrapped up work early and decided to surprise Anna with dinner from her favorite Italian restaurant. As he pulled into the driveway, he noticed an unfamiliar car parked a few houses down. He didn't think much of it, probably a neighbor's visitor, but something about the sleek, dark sedan stuck in his mind. When Ethan entered the house, he found Anna in the kitchen, her phone pressed to her ear. She was speaking in a low, hurried tone, and when she saw him, she quickly ended the call. "Hey! You're home early," she said, her voice unnaturally bright. Ethan set the food on the counter, studying her carefully. "Yeah, thought I'd surprise you." "Who were you talking to?" "Lisa," Anna replied immediately. "She's going through another rough patch with her boyfriend." "Ah," Ethan said, nodding slowly. "Lisa seems to have a lot of drama lately." Anna laughed, a little too loudly. "You know how she is. She can't seem to pick a good guy." Ethan forced a smile, but her response didn't sit right with him. Over the next few days, Ethan started paying closer attention. He wasn't proud of the way he began monitoring Anna's behavior, but he couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. He noticed that Anna's schedule had become more erratic. She had started leaving the house more often, claiming to meet clients or run errands. One evening, while she was in the shower, her phone buzzed with a notification. Ethan glanced at it out of habit. Message from Chris, "Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Last night was incredible." Ethan's heart sank. He knew he shouldn't jump to conclusions. Chris could be a client, and the message might be innocent. But the tone didn't feel professional. When Anna emerged from the bathroom, Ethan tried to keep his voice casual. "Who's Chris?" he asked, watching her carefully. Anna froze for just a fraction of a second before laughing nervously. "Oh, he's a new client. I'm helping him redesign his home office." Ethan nodded, though the knot in his stomach tightened. Ethan decided not to confront Anna yet. Instead, he began quietly piecing things together. He checked her calendar, her social media, and even the receipts she left in the trash. It wasn't long before he found more inconsistencies. One receipt, from a trendy downtown restaurant, caught his attention. The date was from 2 nights ago, when Anna had told him she was meeting Lisa for drinks. Ethan felt the familiar sting of doubt morph into anger. He wanted to confront her, demand answers, but a part of him held back. He needed proof, something undeniable that she couldn't explain away. That weekend, Ethan confided in his best friend, Mark. Over beers in Mark's garage, Ethan laid out everything he'd noticed. "Sounds sketchy, man," Mark said, frowning. "You're not imagining this. You need to find out what's really going on." "How?" Ethan asked, frustrated. "Hire someone," Mark suggested. "A private investigator. They'll get the truth without tipping her off." Ethan hesitated. The idea felt extreme, invasive. But as Mark pointed out, it was better than living in uncertainty. A few days later, Ethan met with a private investigator named Sarah, who had a reputation for discretion and thoroughness. He handed over everything he had, the suspicious message, the receipts, and details about Anna's recent behavior. "I'll get to the bottom of this," Sarah assured him. "If there's something going on, you'll know." For the next week, Ethan went about his days pretending everything was normal. But inside, he was a storm of anxiety and anger. Every time Anna smiled at him or kissed him goodnight, he wondered if she was thinking about someone else. Finally, Sarah called. "I have something," she said. "Can we meet?" The truth comes out. Ethan sat across from Sarah in a quiet corner of a downtown cafe. The folder she slid across the table felt heavier than it should, its weight more emotional than physical. "I'm sorry, Ethan," Sarah said gently. "There's no easy way to put this, but your suspicions were correct." Ethan opened the folder with trembling hands. Inside were photographs, timestamps, and detailed notes. Sarah had followed Anna over the past week, documenting her movements. The evidence was damning. The pictures showed Anna meeting a man, Chris, in secluded spots. There were photos of them walking arm in arm into a boutique hotel, sharing a private table at a restaurant, and laughing over coffee at a park. Ethan's stomach churned as he flipped through the images. His marriage, the life he had trusted and cherished, now felt like a cruel facade. "Do you want me to keep digging?" Sarah asked. "No," Ethan said firmly. "This is more than enough." Ethan couldn't stomach the thought of confronting Anna without undeniable, first-hand proof. He decided he needed to see it with his own eyes. 2 nights later, Anna told him she had a late client meeting and would be home around 10 p.m. Ethan nodded, pretending to believe her, but as soon as she left, he followed her. He trailed her car from a safe distance, his heart pounding with every turn. She drove across town to the same boutique hotel Sarah had photographed. Ethan parked across the street, his knuckles white on the steering wheel. After about 15 minutes, Ethan entered the hotel lobby, his anger simmering just beneath the surface. He approached the front desk and managed to get the room number by claiming he had a meeting with Anna. When he reached the room, he paused outside the door, his breath coming in shallow gasps. He could hear muffled laughter inside. Gathering every ounce of courage, he unlocked the door with the master key the receptionist had provided and pushed it open. There they were, Anna and Chris, caught in the act. Anna's eyes widened in horror as she scrambled to cover herself. "Ethan," she gasped. "What are you doing here?" Chris stammered something incoherent, fumbling with his clothes. Ethan's voice was icy, his fury barely contained. "Don't you dare try to turn this on me, Anna. I'm here because you've been lying to me for weeks. Months, maybe. And now, I've finally seen the truth." Chris tried to interject, but Ethan cut him off with a glare. "Get out," he growled. "Before I do something I regret." Chris grabbed his belongings and bolted from the room, leaving Ethan and Anna alone in the tense silence. Emotional fallout. Back home, the confrontation continued. Anna begged for forgiveness, tears streaming down her face as she tried to explain. "I didn't mean for this to happen," she sobbed. "It was a mistake, Ethan. I was lonely, and you were always working late. I felt like I didn't matter anymore." Ethan's voice was cold. "So you decided the solution was to cheat?" To sneak around and betray me? How does that fix anything, Anna? She shook her head, her sobs growing louder. I wasn't thinking. I hate myself for what I've done. Please, Ethan, I'll do anything to make it right. Don't throw away everything we've built. Ethan stared at her, his heart breaking despite his anger. You threw it away the moment you decided he was worth more than me. Do you even care about what this does to our kids? To our family? I do, Anna whispered. I love you, Ethan. I'll do whatever it takes to fix this. Ethan shook his head, his voice trembling with emotion. You can't just fix something like this, Anna. Trust isn't a light switch you can flip on and off. The plan for revenge. In the days that followed, Ethan was a storm of conflicting emotions. He wasn't ready to make any decisions about their marriage, but one thing was clear: Anna needed to face the consequences of her betrayal. Ethan started by gathering his evidence, everything Sarah had provided, along with recordings of their confrontations. He met with a lawyer to discuss his options, ensuring he was prepared for a potential divorce. But Ethan's revenge wouldn't stop at legal consequences. He wanted Anna to feel the emotional weight of what she had done. Cutting her out. Ethan stopped sharing his daily life with Anna. He became distant, withholding the affection and trust they once shared. He wanted her to feel the isolation she had claimed as her excuse. Exposing the affair. Though Ethan didn't intend to publicly humiliate Anna, he confided in a few close friends and family members. The news spread quickly through their social circle, leaving Anna to face the judgment and disappointment of those who had once admired her. Reclaiming his life. Ethan began spending more time with friends and focusing on hobbies he had neglected. He signed up for a local boxing class, channeling his anger into physical activity. He wanted to show Anna, and himself, that her betrayal wouldn't break him. Anna's desperation. Anna quickly realized how much she had lost. Ethan's coldness, the judgment of their friends, and the guilt she carried left her emotionally shattered. She tried everything to win Ethan back, cooking his favorite meals, planning family outings, even writing him heartfelt letters. But Ethan remained distant, his walls firmly in place. One evening, Anna broke down completely. Ethan, please, she sobbed. I love you. I'll do anything to prove it to you. Just give me a chance. Ethan looked at her, his expression unreadable. The problem isn't whether you love me now, Anna. It's whether you loved me enough not to do this in the first place. Ethan's decision. Days turned into weeks, and the tension in the house was palpable. Ethan avoided Anna as much as possible, focusing on his work and their children. He couldn't bring himself to make a final decision, whether to leave or stay. He oscillated between anger and sadness, between wanting revenge and wanting closure. One evening, Ethan met with Mark again, seeking advice. She's begging for forgiveness, Ethan said, swirling the amber liquid in his glass. Says she'll do anything to make it right. But how do I trust her after what she did? Mark shrugged. That's the thing about trust. Once it's broken, it's damn near impossible to rebuild. You need to figure out if you can live with what happened, or if it's better to walk away. Ethan mulled over the words. Could he ever forgive Anna? Or was it time to move on? Anna's public humiliation. Ethan hadn't intended to expose Anna's infidelity beyond their close circle, but gossip had a way of spreading. A mutual friend accidentally let the truth slip during a neighborhood barbecue, and soon, whispers of Anna's affair were circulating among their friends and acquaintances. At first, Anna tried to ignore the judgmental stares and the sudden coldness of her friends. But it wasn't long before she realized she'd become the subject of widespread scorn. One day, at the grocery store, Anna ran into a neighbor who had once been a close friend. Anna, the woman said curtly, her expression icy. I didn't expect to see you here. Anna's cheeks flushed. Hi, Karen. How are you? I think the real question is how you're living with yourself, Karen replied sharply before walking away. It was a small moment, but it drove home the reality of what Anna had done. She had betrayed not only her husband but also the trust and respect of everyone around her. Ethan's revenge unfolds. Ethan had been methodical in his approach to revenge. While he refrained from outright vindictiveness, he made it clear that Anna would have to face the full weight of her actions. Legal action. Ethan filed for separation, taking the first step toward divorce. His lawyer ensured that he retained control of their finances and primary custody of the children. Anna would only be allowed supervised visits for the time being, pending her efforts to demonstrate stability and accountability. Emotional distance. Ethan remained distant and cold, refusing to let Anna back into his heart. He made no effort to hide his new routines, joining a gym, reconnecting with old friends, and even going on casual dates. Exposing Chris. Using the evidence Sarah had gathered, Ethan anonymously sent copies of the photos and messages to Chris's wife, who had no idea her husband had been unfaithful. The fallout was immediate. Chris's marriage crumbled, and his reputation in their professional circles took a significant hit. Anna hits rock bottom. The culmination of Ethan's actions left Anna at her lowest point. She moved into a small, run-down apartment, a stark contrast to the beautiful home she had once shared with Ethan. Her social life evaporated, her freelance business faltered, and her relationship with the kids grew strained. During one of her limited visits with the children, Max, their youngest, asked her an innocent yet devastating question. "Mommy, why don't you live with us anymore?" Anna blinked back tears, struggling to find the words. "Mommy made some mistakes," she said softly. "But I love you very much, and I'm always here for you." Max nodded, but his hesitation spoke volumes. Ethan's new beginning. Ethan's focus shifted to rebuilding his life. With Anna out of the picture, he poured his energy into his career, his children, and his own personal growth. He took up boxing and found it therapeutic, a way to channel his emotions into something productive. He also began volunteering at a local youth center, mentoring kids who needed guidance. The experience was humbling and gave him a renewed sense of purpose. In time, Ethan met someone new, a woman named Clara, who worked as a teacher at Max's school. Clara was kind, grounded, and understanding of the baggage Ethan carried. Their relationship blossomed slowly, built on trust and mutual respect. A year after the separation, Anna reached out to Ethan, asking to meet. Despite his reservations, Ethan agreed, wanting to hear what she had to say. They met at a small cafe, the same one where Ethan had once confided in Sarah. Anna looked different, thinner, tired, her once vibrant demeanor dulled by regret. "Thank you for meeting me," she began, her voice trembling. "I know I'm the last person you want to see." Ethan didn't respond, waiting for her to continue. I wanted to say I'm sorry," she said, tears welling in her eyes. "For everything. I destroyed our family, and I have to live with that every day. I don't expect forgiveness, but I needed you to know how much I regret what I did." Ethan studied her for a moment, his expression unreadable. "You're right, I don't forgive you. Not yet, maybe not ever. But I've moved on, Anna. For me, for the kids, and for my own sanity." Her tears fell freely now, but Ethan felt no satisfaction in her pain. He stood, ready to leave. "Take care of yourself," he said quietly before walking away, leaving Anna to sit alone with the weight of her choices. Years later, Ethan would look back on this chapter of his life with a mix of pain and pride. The betrayal had scarred him, but it had also pushed him to grow stronger, to rediscover who he was beyond his marriage. His relationship with Clara deepened, and together they created a loving home for the kids. Ethan found happiness not in revenge but in the life he built after the storm. Anna, meanwhile, remained a cautionary tale, a reminder of the devastating consequences of betrayal. Though she tried to rebuild her life, she never fully recovered from the loss of her family. Ethan's story became one of resilience and redemption, proof that even in the face of heartbreak, it was possible to rise again.